Okay, so somebody went ahead and posted my last movie to the official forums and Reddit, which I did not do because one of the attacks that I get from people is that, I'm just doing this to try to get hits on my YouTube page, which is laughable. That's not the point of this at all. And there is an official response from Carbine here. It is from CRB and Laugh, English Community Manager. So I'm guessing, this is just a community guy. He probably doesn't know that much about all the tech stuff, and neither do I. But this is what he says. We've passed this issue on previously, and after investigations by the combat class and general dev teams, our understanding is that this is generally just a latency issue. So everything that I've put in this movie is just because of latency. I mean, so the part there where I'm standing still for an extremely long time, right? An extremely long time, hitting the dummy when I shouldn't be, that's a latency issue. Well, obviously that's not correct. It continues. To my non-techie brain, it makes sense that if there was an issue on our end, it would affect all users, and this simply isn't the case. Well, there are a lot of people that I have seen complaining about the same issues I've been complaining about. People in this thread, even if you look at it later on, they say, well, I got a training fab kit, and I went up there and I was able to reproduce what he was doing in his video. Okay, so other people are able to reproduce this. So it's not just me. It's not just me. Okay, so let's continue on. That isn't to say we don't understand the frustration, but all individual abilities are firing correctly. Now, I guess technically he's correct because the abilities do fire. I have no problem with that, by the way. That's one thing I can give high marks to Wildstar for, is that the abilities are very, very responsive. When you hit the button, it goes off, right? It goes off. There's no lag in when you hit the ability and the ability fires. The problem is that it is not hitting consistently, right? There are times when it obviously should have hit its target and it doesn't. And I'm going to show that again in this video. The main culprits for the warrior are kick, grapple, and tether. Okay, kick, grapple, and tether. I will show them where I think it would be very hard to argue that ability missed because of normal latency issues. There's, again, I've said this before, there's something else going on here, right? And it's not normal latency issues. Now, and the combat team have checked dash timings, etc. I'm not sure what that exactly means, because it's kind of understood that when you dash, right, it doesn't update your position until the dash animation ends. That's why you still get hit when you dash out of a telegraph. And there's also strange behavior with other movement abilities, like Bum Rush and Projected Spirit from Esper, where when they use it, if you use your ability at the place they left from, and you'll see the telegraph is there, they still get hit on the other side of it. It's because their position is not updating. And that is not their latency, that's not your latency, that's the server not updating their position until after that animation has ended, which kind of makes those things somewhat pointless as escape abilities. Now, I can try and follow this up again with, are we 100% mega sure this is just latency and not an issue on our end? But the last time this was discussed, it was investigated and pinned to latency. I mean, did this dev even watch the movie with the telegraph dummies? Did they even watch the movie with these tethers and these grapples missing when they obviously should not have been missing? I mean, there is no way in the world the ones I have in that movie should have missed. Absolutely zero reason for them to miss, okay? So, I mean, this reply from this community manager is really, really amazing to me. It's basically saying things aren't going to improve for you. If you're having these issues, right, it's latency, they've looked at these things. It's just a latency issue, so this is really no big deal. This is your problem. You just might as well quit and leave the game. Okay, that's basically what they're saying there. Now, I think one thing that some people miss the significance of wasn't just when I was on the training dummy, but when I was with NIFO. And I was kind of doing a thing there just to quickly do a test to see if we were desynced or not. And you can see me, I'm hitting him when he's clearly behind me, according to my client. So then I ask him a question. I say, well, okay, where does it look like I am to you? And he says, it looks like you are ahead of me. And that's when I said, what? Because that shocked the hell out of me. I thought for sure what he was going to say is that, well, it looks like you're a little bit behind me, right? Because then, I'm hitting him. So that would indicate that I'm desynced from the server, but I'm hitting him because I'm actually really behind him. But instead, he says the same thing I'm seeing. So our clients are agreeing, okay? But the server that's determining whether I'm supposed to hit him or not does not agree with either of us. Now, I live in the southern United States, okay? NIFO is a filthy Canadian that lives in Canada. My client is not directly communicating to his client, okay? So his client is sending him information as to where I am through the server. So the server is telling NIFO's client that I am ahead of him, okay? But the server is also determining that I am hitting NIFO. Do you see a problem here? So the server is telling him information where my client is, but and my client and his client agree. We agree. But it's also at the same time determining that I'm in a position where I should be hitting him. Now, I am not a tech wizard, but this seems to be a serious problem here. What you're seeing, what the server is telling you, right? What you are seeing does not agree with what the server is doing to determine whether it should be hitting or not. Okay, here are some of the telegraphs. I'm just going to hover over my mouse. There's the kick telegraph. There is relentless strikes telegraph. There is rampage telegraph. There is breaching strikes telegraph. You can see they're all the same, right? They're all the same area, all the same shape. Okay, here is grapple telegraph. You can see it's very, very wide. And here is the tether telegraph, very wide. They're the same. Interesting thing about these two is that they're actually extended out a little bit more than what the telegraph has them. Let's see if this one actually hits both, this grapple. Yeah, you see that? So it actually extends out just a little bit more than the actual telegraph. And the same goes for tether. Alright, so let me get on the other side of this dummy so I won't hit the other one. And if I do the tether bolt there, you can see it's right there. Let me move over just a little bit more. Not sure if this will hit, but it did. Did you see that? Look how far over I am from the dummy, and tether bolt hits. This is actually not a desyncing issue in this case. It's just actually the case that the actual hit detection is wider than the telegraph itself. So the warrior goes whirlwind. They're both after NIFO. Again, I'm trying to peel. So as soon as my knockdown comes off a cooldown, I try to knock them both down. Now, if you look at this clip carefully, what you're going to see is you're going to see that I hit breaching strikes on both of them. Look at the combat text on the left-hand side, the combat log on the left-hand side. You'll see clearly that my breaching strikes hits both of them. Then I go for my kick. Okay, my kick only hits the stalker. It does not hit the warrior. There's no message in the combat log that he deflected. There's no deflect message on the screen. It just whiffs on him completely. You can see he's in the telegraph, okay? They're both in the telegraph. Hits the stalker, misses the warrior. But now look. My second breaching strikes goes off and it hits both of them. Okay, so first breaching strikes hits both. The kick only hits one of them. Breaching strikes immediately afterward hits both. Kick and breaching strikes have the same telegraph. They have the same telegraph. And then if you look even a little bit further, a relentless strikes hits all three of the enemy there. And the warrior is actually well out of the telegraph on that hit. I have no idea why that one hit. So again, there you have inconsistency again. These three things that happen. The first breaching strike hits, the one kick whiff, and the next breaching strikes hits. These occur in a fraction of a second. A fraction of a second, all of this happens. I'm going to go ahead and play it in real speed right now. Did you see it? Right? This is something you would only catch when you review the footage carefully. Right? You have to review the footage carefully. I was looking through it and I noticed the hits on them from breaching strikes, and then I was like wondering, well, why didn't that kick hit both? I mean, that doesn't make any sense at all.
Simply put, you physically aim your abilities. Enemies aim their attacks as well, forcing you to react and avoid.